Charlie with his linguini charting. He loses sometimes, but hardly. He's BTC Charlie. But now he's GBP Charlie. It doesn't matter what he's charting. His trading is tough, but it's not all that bad with Charlie. He's got memes in the morning and more in the evening. It's Charlie. And when trading gets hard and support starts to lean, search Charlie. Charlie with his linguini charting. He loses sometimes, but hardly. He's BTC Charlie. But now he's GBP Charlie. It doesn't matter what he's charting. His trading is tough, but it's not all that bad with Charlie. He's got memes in the morning and more in the evening. It's Charlie. And when trading gets hard and support starts to lean, search Charlie.
Let's not do that again. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. How is everybody doing on this fine bloody Tuesday? I hope you're actually all well and have survived this brutal day, or few days, I suppose. Ever since the 25, where did I get that number from? 1.4 billion hack on Friday. Quite an epic series of events. Struggling? Oh, sorry to hear it, man. Epic. Bonjour, EXO. How are you, sir? I'm going to try and mod you up. Get you modded. So that if there's anyone, misbehaving, you've got the banhammer. Oh, that's my horrific voice. Right. Add as moderator. I should probably check that that's the real EXO, but we'll just YOLO it, shall we? Give it a little bit of a cheeky risk. So if everyone's getting banned, I probably just modded someone called EXO. Anyway, I'm good. Bitcoin down a couple of %. My man has transitioned into a musician already. Oh, I wish I was that talented, mate. Someone recorded that for me years ago, and it's been my theme tune for a while for the stream. I wish I was that talented. But no, seriously, I hope everyone is doing well, and a big shout out to Destra Network for continuing to sponsor the stream. As you can see, I may be a little bit biased, obviously, because they are my stream partners, but they are bouncing hard, as is my bag of Burt, which is down a reasonable amount from the highs, and I've round tripped an awful lot on that. But you've got to hold a meme, and you've got to hold some bags that you believe in. And it's just comforting to see them rallying from the lows, up 21%. it's hopefully going to reclaim this pivotal 0.2 level, which I keep looking at, and I keep saying, you know, if you were to buy, and this is not financial advice to be very clear, absolute educational purposes only, you know, you're looking at breaks of downtrends, you're looking at reclaims, and we'll come on to some plans for various coins, you know, as the stream progresses, but the strength is very, very nice. You know, if you are looking at coins to have potentially put a bottom in, that's kind of what you want to see. And it is interesting to see that we've got some, you know, utility plays essentially, and some memes in here. So the likes of, you know, Pengu, Peanut, Moodang, Nero, all that kind of stuff. So there is a decent mix actually in terms of risk appetite. Yeah, it's really nice strength. First time you heard it, George? Ah, it's really good. It's really good. I'm just gonna load up my Bybit account with my 400 bajillion trillion dollars in it, and long everything and buy it. Any advice for what to do with profits after removing them from crypto markets? Well, I'm going to keep this a little bit crypto stream, because I imagine there's a lot of people kind of with a lot of questions that are, is the bull run over? What do I do if I've fucked it up? Where do I go from here? How do I manage my emotions at quite a difficult time, I guess? You know, I got a little bit like, ooh, on Friday when the Bybit stuff happened, I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure there's nothing I can do. You know, if I've lost the money, I've lost the money. It's my fault for, you know, leaving slightly more on there than I would have liked. But obviously they were super solvent, and when I say super solvent, I mean they recovered from a $1.4 billion hack, which is pretty wild if you ask me. And at the time, the market held up pretty well. So, you know, going back to, you know, BTC, at the time, it was good. This is from my meme earlier, which was not the only hope. We'll talk through that in a minute, and the thought process, and a trade that failed, because I did buy some spot BTC at around 89 earlier, and then sold 88.3, I think it was 88.4 maybe. So I took a bit of a scratch this morning. But obviously I've been short from 105 for a while now. But yeah, you know, when it happened on Friday, it was a bit of a scary moment for me. Not in terms of, oh shit, I'm fucked, you know, back on the streets, going to go back to McDonald's, all that kind of stuff. It was more a, damn, I kind of went outside my principles a little bit and had a little bit more on there than I was comfortable with potentially losing, which obviously wasn't a loss in the end. But yeah. It's a stark reminder for us all, I think, to just check our risk management, you know, check our appetite for counterparty risk, and do all of that. But you've probably seen that a million times on Twitter, so yeah, I'm not gonna jump too much into that. I've bored people with that several times before, but it is a very serious point, especially when these things do actually happen. So anyway, let's jump into some bits and pieces, because, you know, as you know, I've had a short open since like 105 up here, which we talked about last stream. We talked about a soul rotation last stream, which was, you know, just a little soul rotation. It ended up being a reasonable trade. I actually held it for much longer than this. I round tripped it, held it. I held it all the way to here. So I had a trailing stop on it, and I got stopped out there. So I literally wasted, you know, a few days in the position for trying to get that extra push and trying to get that high time frame reclaim above whatever it was, 183-ish. Because to me, if that was the low and that was the rotation, the risk reward of holding that trade and actually leaving it to run, reclaim, and actually go for a potential other cycle would have been, you know, really, really good. Versus the 2% or 3.5% or whatever I had as a trailing stop on this when it got back up to here. So yeah, it was a decent trade. We played it off the divs last stream. If anyone wants to see that kind of divergence trading in action, then just go check the last stream. I explained it in very, very detailed and clear ways, I think, and we took it like live on the last stream. So Bitcoin doing the Simpson pattern, yeah. Hello, Mr. Gamer Friend. Hello, little Frank. What about now, Salt? So, I mean, there is, you know, a fairly nice divergence that has occurred down here, down these lows. So, if I was actively trading today, which I started trading, and then I took a couple of haircuts, and I was like, nope, I'm not going to try this. So this across here, these lows, even, you know, the AO pulling up, like that's quite a nice div. and you don't jump in it until it starts moving. But I would probably have taken the failed trade there. So if I'm being completely honest, that's the start of a divergence here, and then I would have got stop down here or stop here, i.e. you want the div to play out to the upside, so you want it just to kind of change momentum. But this has been diverging for quite a while. So there was a trade here which was like there, but again it's quite a wide stop. It's not exactly great in terms of this is hindsight, obviously price action, but 1.3R, like realistically you'd go for higher, but I don't like it here because there's no reason for me to kind of jump in even on the hourly. It's just a mid-range RSI retest. Like I'm not saying short it after a minus 50% or whatever it is from the highs. Not these highs, obviously the highs back here. But the meat of the move in terms of the Solana short has almost certainly played out, right? And it's now, in my opinion, when we start going, right, this is a 55% reduction or discount, as we might call it. We're now at an extreme in RSI on the daily. We're at an extreme on the stock RSI. I'm not using stock too well. I'm just using it as a bit of confluence. I've kind of added it recently after a few conversations with people, so I don't take this into my scoring for my position sizing, but it's just a bit of confluence in terms of we're at an extreme, right? We're at a massive extreme on RSI. If we look at where RSI has kind of hit extremes before, okay, these are bullish, and they are on the opposite end, but let's go back and kind of here, I guess the first bit's sort of here and here. And trends can obviously continue for however long, right? But generally on a daily extreme basis, let's focus on like the lows. Like it tends to mark local bottoms, right? Tends to. Like just simple RSI. So for context, do I want to be shorting here? Not particularly. What's more likely? A relief bounce or it continuing just to go lower? And in my opinion, it's a relief bounce, right? It's just hard to get in position, and obviously the market is pretty weak, and we'll talk about Bitcoin in a second because for me that's kind of the Mac Daddy of all of it. But since you asked, there's Solana. Whilst we were on it, we were sort of finishing on from the trade last stream. I didn't flip short or do anything like that on it, and it's probably the one coin I regret not shorting because of all the overhead of the unlocks, etc. Kind of coming out, and the fact that it's shit the bed more than anything else. But now it's obviously bouncing quite nicely in terms of Sol ETH and Sol BTC. But for me, there's kind of no trade there just yet, and we'll come on to things where I think actually there are potential trades or what I'm looking at next. So I'll talk to you about Bitcoin, and I'll kind of go over my thought process before. We obviously went through the 105k short before and all of that logic, and that's played out nicely. I've still got it open because there's no reason to close it, quite frankly. The market is pretty weak. TARDFI is, not looking particularly great, even though the dollar is kind of dying. We've got this juxtaposition of dollar dying, risk assets dying, and actually, if I look at this, what I would actually say is dollar is at high time frame support, and this is an area I would look for. If this was a 5-minute altcoin chart, I'd be looking for a bit of a bounce, right? I'd be looking for the next leg up. I'd be looking for it to fail to kind of accept in this massive area here, and kind of go onwards and upwards, and that kind of ties in with how I feel. Note the word feel, emotional about altcoins, because most of them are having nice little rallies here, but from a chart perspective, almost all of them are absolutely destroyed. Sentiment is kind of peak lows, but you've got lots of nice divergences starting to emerge like this across like the BONK daily chart, for example. So it's definitely, in my mind, not a place to be bearish and looking for like shorts at these lows. Yeah, maybe if you get a proper dead cat bounce and we do something like that, sweep highs, and come back in and play the short back to like lows or like the local range low or something, but not here. Like I'm very, very bad at trying to short stuff like this because I always find it just does that, and then it normalizes and consolidates for a bit as everyone gets bored because you have the strong sell-off, You have everyone shorting and going, well, this is clearly the trend now. They then get their ass fucked. It then reverts, and you then range for a little while, because the market spends, most of its time ranging, let's not forget. So is it all officially over, pack out for this cycle? That is a good question. I don't know. I kind of think it is. I'm just going to say it. I kind of think it is. And, I've said it for a while in terms of like how Bitcoin sells off and reacts to this range loss is going to kind of determine everything, because we're at this point of like mass extraction, right? There's no meta that's sticking. You can tell that the risk appetite has kind of changed. You can tell that everybody's just waiting for like the next rotation, like we're risk going into memes, great. But I actually think that the recovery from the extraction is going to take a little bit longer than has happened. And I think that risk appetite is not going to rush back into this market where there's no clear narrative and there's no clear signal to be kind of risk on, in my opinion. Like, do I think a bottom is here or close? Yeah, on a lot of altcoins. Like, I think a lot of them are starting to diverge. A lot of them, which we'll come on to. We just did BONK, I suppose, a really good example. I think we'll get some dead cat bounces. I think they'll be really, really nice to play. But is this where I want to go balls deep, massive risk on, as Bitcoin is just sort of free falling? Not particularly. What's going to change my mind? And I think that's the important thing. Like, what trades do I want to take when the time I think is right, or when I've got signs to jump into the market? That's what I want to think about. Because if we were, let's like flip this chart around, right? If we were inverting this and we had this chart, yeah, I think a lot of people, like, and let's pretend that this is, this is bear market, bear market, bear market, bear market. A lot of people you would see on Twitter right now would be saying this is the start of the bull market. This is the breakout that we've needed from this consolidation and this range. And it's funny when you examine like the inversion of a chart and your own personal bias. Like, I think that this is a trending move. I think this is the break of this range and consolidation and the start of a trending move. It kind of coincides with, largest hack in history, Trump mass extracting millions of dollars, maybe even $1 billion out of the market. Every fucking celeb and rug coin just going on with a less than 12-hour shelf life. The space needs a bit of cleansing. So cleanse it down, or up in this case, run it kind of back, come back down here somewhere, make all the visitors kind of fuck off, and then consolidate for a little bit, and then run it back. And we're inverting the chart right now. That would be my ideal scenario, right? But I can't trade my hopes and dreams. Like, I'm not going to trade off that. I need signals. I need actionable thoughts and some clear levels of demarcation on my risk. So for me, all I am looking at is I either want some high time frame divergences on Bitcoin, and if you look at this, there's just nothing. Like, there's not going to be anything kind of useful, because like let's start from like a weekly perspective, right? Weekly, we've retested the 50, so this is where we should be putting up a fight, but the price action kind of suggests otherwise. Price action kind of suggests that this is, we've lost the range. Now, obviously, the weekly hasn't closed. We don't know that it's going to kind of keep going or anything like that, but it's not been particularly great, has it? Let's be honest. And we are actually, continuing to go lower at 86.7 right now. Where would I really look for some form of support? I mean, like everybody here, but I'd like it to be front run if we're bullish. So the logic behind that is the market isn't just going to let us get to meme levels if there's still huge active participants and bidders. So what I'd like to see is some form of capitulation and then real strength off somewhere like this, right? So somewhere just under 80k. And the rationale for that is we shouldn't come back and like retest these highs. We shouldn't come back and retest this. And if that happens, I'm completely wrong. Now, the other area that I'm interested in actually just getting long Bitcoin is, as I'm sure you can all see, this kind of 92 level, where if we push back and reclaim it, or we start reversing off this, which I don't think we will, because there's kind of nothing to kind of tell me that we're going to do that in terms of divergences or anything like that. It's all a bit janky. It's all a bit brutal like this. There's a little bit of a div across these lows, which is starting to play out. but it's really, there's no change in structure, right? It's just consolidation, try and push up, sell off, try and push up, sell off, try and push up, presumably sell off again. Do you know what I mean? Like it's really weak, this price action, and it's pretty brutal. I suspect we'll get a pretty horrific candle that will then be reversed, and I will be looking at something like this. So I don't like loading this normally on this stream, but we'll do it anyway because it's something like this to try and get a decent entry. So we'll see it sell off wildly on this chart, and then we'll see it kind of pull back. So yeah. Previous bull markets, when we did a flash crash, left us with a crazy wick. Yeah, and that's kind of like what I'm looking for now, because I think in this price action, it's just grindy, right? It's just grinding low, grinding down, selling off. You've got some kind of divergences like here, like across those lows and across this on Awesome Oscillator, but again, that's played out here, like, and it's just not, it shouldn't retrace back to kind of the point of your divergence, right? It's just weak as anything. Now, there will be an argument to kind of just try and take something like when the trend breaks and when we do start getting some strength, like altcoins have been doing obviously okay, selling off a little bit now, but it's very difficult to trade this, I think, and I don't have to trade it, right? This is the other thing, is that a lot of people are there going, well, this is the time where you make the most money and da-da-da-da-da, because there's volatility. It's like, yeah, but this is, this is downtrending, like brutal chop if you're trying to long it and play the rotations, right? It's very, very difficult. And I tried earlier and I was just too early. I tried here and there wasn't really much of a rotation on alts. I tried the long OM, which we'll come on to in a minute as well, because that's a big scammy altcoin. And yeah, like I'm comfy in a short, I'm comfy in a Trump short, I'm comfy in an ETH short. Like, why do I need to like up my exposure? I don't really want more exposure than that, especially if my thesis is that we've sold off, we've lost this huge consolidation, and it's probably going to go lower. Now, the one thing, and someone pointed out in the chat actually, that one thing that I think is massively different about this cycle is, I'm quite happy to be called BTC Charlie, because we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, and this was my like prediction from that stream, that Bitcoin dominance is just going up. Now I know the price of Bitcoin has gone down, but what it means is that alts are going down much, much faster, which we kind of all know. But even when we were consolidating up at the highs, Bitcoin was running the show. Alts were just dying, Bitcoin was holding up well. I kind of think that this trend just continues, and if anything, it just accelerates. And the reason I think it accelerates is I think there's very few metas that are like alive and well. Like I keep wanting to long memes, but the market just shows me that this was probably the rotation for memes in terms of like any kind of perp longs, and that was only sort of 10-15%. So it was good, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't great, wasn't incredible, wasn't like what we had a year ago when you could get 20-50% in a day on memes. Now, how do we use this kind of to our advantage? It just means that I want to be denominating in Bitcoin a lot more. I want to be focusing on Bitcoin. I want to be focusing on Bitcoin price action more than kind of anything. And that is going to be the leader for me in terms of my thought process, right? So I can't really long altcoins when Bitcoin is just in free fall. I don't want to unless there's a really clear set buy signal on spaghetti. Unless there's something literally kind of doing this whilst everything else is doing nothing, right? And there's a rotation that makes sense. But for now, the reason I had this here, and the help me Obi-Wan or whatever, you're my only hope, is that I thought if we take these stops here, we would get some form of relief bounce, and we did for about 10 minutes, which was here, and then we kind of came crashing back down, and that's when I closed. So it was just like, I think I got the numbers wrong when I said it originally, but I longed in here, and then I sold down here. So it was very, very quick trade, very, very quick. But yeah, there's just no real strength. Just like I said, just literal brutal market structure. Now here we are actually consolidating for, let's just delete all that shit. We are actually consolidating for longer. We are actually starting to kind of ramp up the awesome oscillator, and maybe if we start doing that, we can start thinking about a fresh long. But for me, it's just we're counter trend now. We've been the counter trend for a little while. These are brutal sell-offs. We've been counter trend ever since here, really, because this has just been ranging, and we have broken out from a very high time frame range and consolidation. Now, people will kind of go, oh, so you're an Uber bear and all this stuff. It's like, no, I mean, I'm just comfy in shorts. I've sold a lot of my spot bags. I've got a load of spot bags in terms of like low caps and various like AI coins and other bits and pieces. But if crypto disappeared tomorrow, I could say I've done well out of it. Do you know what I mean? So I'm kind of a little bit nonchalant about how the market goes, but obviously love the game and we can always do better, right? That's kind of the addiction, because it's the greatest game of all time, the greatest video game. I see what you're saying about kind of 85k or like wherever it is down here. The problem that I've got with it really is that it's only one small bit of price action that's supporting it. Here, in terms of like your classic textbook support and resistance, right? You've got so many points of confluence that like we couldn't close above here, we couldn't close above here, we couldn't close above there, then we blasted above, acted as support, bum, support, like it kind of makes total sense. Whereas this is, what, one candle, two candle, maybe three, and I guess four at a push. Like this is, I think, especially with the lack of divergences, like just people kind of being hopeful and just hoping that this is like a level. I mean, all levels are memes to an extent, right? Me drawing a line on a chart isn't going to stop somebody aping in $1 trillion of Bitcoin, or America announcing that they've just launched their strategic Bitcoin reserve. But yeah. So the big areas for me to trade are, if I want a low time frame rotation before I go to bed, it's going to be a push out of this little consolidation. For me, the next levels are, unfortunately, it's kind of down here, and I would like to see us front run it in this sort of under 80k mark. So I will be looking for strong reactions here, and that's where I'll be looking to also close my shorts. Now I can wake up tomorrow, Bitcoin's at 100k, I'm wrong, I'm blown out, rah, I've lost it. I don't really care if I lose a trade. Like that's part of the game. If you don't like losing, don't be a trader. Do you know what I mean? But that's really my next area for Bitcoin. And if you think about the pain that that's going to cause altcoins, you'll kind of know why I'm refraining from being in the old order books as much as I normally am, because that's where I usually dominate. But at the moment, it's just not conducive to my P&L to be doing that. Is that pretty clear, everybody? Any questions? Any comments? Any kind of observations? Anything? Are you guys feeling different? I'd love somebody to say, you're full of shit, Charlie. I think that this is the greatest bull run of all time, and here's why. Yeah, a little bit of two-way conversation. Can you see any bottoming instructions on alts? Let's go through a couple, and if you guys see any, feel free to chuck them in the chat, right? Very logical. Cheers, mate. Like, that's what I'm trying to be. I'm trying to be like, I don't want to be like, I'll tweet some shit on Twitter, right? I'll tweet, oh my god, I think Bitcoin's going to infinity. I have a long-term stack of Bitcoin that I sold a fair bit of, right? Because I always said I would at 100k, but I'm still a believer in Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is digital gold. I just think that my time horizon is 5 or 10 years, right? Do I think it's going to get to $1 million? Yes, I do. Do I think that people who sell Bitcoin are going to regret it in the longer term? Yes. Do I think they're going to regret it in the shorter term? Probably not. That's kind of my view, and it's all based on your life circumstances. If you've got 10 Bitcoin right now and you're 500 grand in debt and blah, 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 just fucking sell half of it, clear that debt, live debt free, and go on with your life. But that's, different. Thinking along similar lines. Looks like a knife catching, yeah. Best boron ever for making money on shorts? Yes. Yeah, exactly. Ellioticians hold the view that this is wave 4. Okay. Yeah, I kind of get that from an Elliott wave perspective, to be honest. I'm not like majorly, into Elliott waves myself, but if that's what people want to kind of come up with, then by all means, I would absolutely love it if it is, right? And I would love that kind of manic run up. The problem that I've had is that I've had people in this range contact me and be like, hey, you're into crypto, aren't you? And I'm like, oh God, And I know that that's a ridiculous kind of sentiment indicator, but I did not have any of that here. I did not have any of that here. I did not have any of that here. And when I messaged those same people down here to go and buy some shit, none of them wanted to. So, I had that kind of luxury of a barometer that, yes, it was nowhere near as wild as like this, right? Nowhere near. But kind of still some warning signs. Questions to help me in my positioning. About 50% cash for some RWA and AI play, still up 2x. Would you recommend moving all into cash and just waiting for strength to return before re-entering? So that's a really kind of personal question, and it will kind of depend on your view of the market. I will tell you what I've done because of my position and how I view the market. So there are coins that I still have large positions in that haven't ran yet, like Sage, which again is a very low cap, high risk, low liquidity, low volume, blah, blah, blah. Market cap coin. So don't just blindly ape without understanding what you're aping if you're gonna do that. Again, not financial advice, blah blah blah. Because it's a binary play, right? I bought it at like 2 million market cap on average. It ran to 10 million. I did sell a tiny bit at 10 million actually. And then I'm hoping it goes to either sort of 25, 50, 100 to start actually cashing some serious money out. And that's kind of a binary bet. If you're up 2x on a load of stuff, then and you're sweating every night over it, and you think that there's a massive risk off session coming, and the AI that narrative's dead, and you've lost your belief in it all, and it's a huge amount of money to you, then yeah, I'd be taking it off the table, to be honest, because there'll always be another opportunity in crypto, right? That's the great thing about it. But equally, I'm someone who always wants some exposure to the market, and that can just be spot bags. It can be my spot Bitcoin, it can be my spot ETH. I've still got some ETH actually, and whatever. But you've kind of got three choices, and I think they depend on your risk appetite and where you think we are in the cycle. The first choice is take it all out, start again, write a business plan, come back with a plan of where you're going to put that money, and let's just say it was DSYNC. And because it gives me a good excuse to talk about DSYNC. Would I buy it right here? No. Not because it isn't a great project, but because for me, the confirmation of some form of breakout is up here, right? So would I sell here to buy here? That sounds fucking stupid, Charlie. You're selling low to buy higher? Like, that is dumb. Yeah, I completely get what you're saying. But holding bags in like a downtrend is really difficult. Whereas buying bags at the start of an uptrend, far easier and much easier to manage your risk with, because it sounds like you either didn't have a profit taking plan, or it ran up but just didn't quite get your take profit targets, and then you round trip some. But you are up 2x, so it's still great. So I know that was a really long answer and it's quite specific to someone's personal circumstances, but I think that there's probably some stuff in there that people will resonate with. What I did in 2017 is I ended up with like 50 bags of all this dog shit, this coin of the day, this thing that was doing a fork, this thing that would airdrop something else, blah, 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 blah. And then when the market tanked 70%, I was in all this crap, and I just literally cashed every single penny out physically, and then I put back into the market what I wanted to trade with and invest. And now that was the best thing I ever did, because it made me think about where every penny was allocated rather than being hung up on the decisions that I'd made previously. And I wrote a business plan for it all. I wrote, I want to invest in this. Rune was one of the ones that I put a load of money in, and I said I'm not selling my Rune until it's like $2, $5, $10, $20, and $100. And lo and behold, Rune from 0.03 or 0.0003, I should say, ran up to $20. So it was, a phenomenal run in terms of X's. It was like 3,330x or something, like absolutely wild. Probably not looking great today. But yeah, buying this at 0.003, I think it was. Yeah, just nuts. Before it was listed, obviously, on fucking Binance or exchanges, like way back here. I cashed all out at 19, I think it was, because I was like, fuck me, this is too much now. So I didn't quite hit the 20 mark, but that's what I mean, is you have a plan, you stick to the plan, you have targets, and you take them, and you can just reset all of that. Just because the AI coin you were in a couple of months ago was great and you thought was the future of finance, is AI going to have another meta? Probably, to be honest, because there's not much else to bet on and to gamble on. But we will see. So let's go for some other questions just quickly while we've got some stuff. Can I ask anything? I want to come to corner crying after what you just said? Yeah, of course, mate. A5K looks 180 on Sol. Everybody wanted to bid, and price just ripped through it like it was nothing. Yeah, because everyone's a pussy, Bruno. This is the thing: is everyone says, "Oh, if it drops there, I'll bid," and then it drops there, and then people go, "Oh, I don't actually want to bid there because the chart looks like shit." Yes, the chart looks like shit. Of course it does. I mean, to me, it doesn't look like so shit. Why am I on Poloniacs? It doesn't look so shit that it's like I should buy this with just 10% of my normal size just to try and like knife catch. Do you know what I mean? Because when you are convinced that it's over, yeah, usually it's at or close to a bottom. But like this for me is not, it's not great, but there's no real reason to suggest that it's the bottom or I shouldn't be just waiting. You look at ETH, yeah, that's a good point. I haven't really talked about ETH. I did talk about ETH and Bitcoin actually in the group, and the same setup, right, which I did not take on ETH. What I was saying is there's this huge high time frame pivot across here. I'm going to get rid of the volume stuff because it just looks horrible. I've not colored my candles properly. Huge high time frame pivot, and we've been grinding up against that for a little while, right, through here. If we fail to break out, it's a free short. If we break up and consolidate above, that's a free long. And I didn't take it because I was too busy trying to get my funds off Bybit, which obviously did really well in terms of survival. And I equally said that if I got the deviation up here, I would add to my short and bring my average down to about 102, so about here. So the thing with like this is, I'd be compounding a trade, I'd be adding it in favor of the trend at this point in time. So, higher time frame trend, obviously not like the hourly, but I never got this. I never got this because I was too busy trying to deal with the actual hack myself. But that was the point. I was saying, oh, cheers, big slopper. It's I'm just trying to be brutally honest with you guys. Like, I've been preaching be slow and steady over the last few weeks. I've given reasons of why I'm bullish on certain things or what I want to see before executing, but this has been the time frame where I've absolutely traded the least. So I've taken the least trades probably for about 5 or 6 years. Since January, so 2025 so far, my lowest number of trades I've ever recorded. That does help, thank you. You are welcome, Francesco. Total 3 about 30% off all-time high. Let's have a peep. Yeah, I mean this doesn't look good either, does it? Like again, you want to see some strength, right? Just doesn't look great. It looks more like this. Or even this. Chop it down, and then get some big event, maybe the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve, to just get risk back on altcoins. Yeah, that would be great. That would be great. Memes will survive. Cat looks oversold. I think some memes will survive. I think it will be like Pepe, which has seen multiple cycles and is a really good indicator of risk on, risk off. And I don't mean risk on, risk off as in like Pepe is now the canary in the gold mine or whatever. I think it's more about it's the reality of what we're trying to catch. So this diagram, which I say on every stream, we are playing for like 20, 38, 30 days. Like we're playing for these small periods of massive risk on. Like, and this is not it, right? This is not it. I think we will get those periods again. Psychology of the market is crypto is a fucking scam. It's going to zero. Crypto is going to cure cancer. We're going to live forever and get rich, right? The kind of, it's such a polarizing market, and that polarization of basically stuff that has typically zero fucking intrinsic value makes these kind of wild moves occur, right? So do I think it's dead as a market to trade? No, absolutely. Do I want to short the lows? No. Do I want to kind of just sit and be patient? Absolutely. Let's build some stuff. I was fucking around with different scripts yesterday, trying to build some new stuff. Let's see if it'll actually let me do it. See, like, some momentum. I need to work on it a little bit more, but changes in momentum essentially, and just try and automate some of the things that I look at visually, just using my eyes, just for other people to make it nice and simple. And obviously I'll color it all in and make it all fancy and do whatever, but yeah, all I'm looking for here on something like Pepe is show me a reclaim, show me a level of consolidation, like give me something to get bullish on it. Otherwise, it's just downtrend. On the macro and trend scanner indicator is your name as well as Trader XO. Did you write the script indicator for him? Yes, I did. And I published it. Hey there, Charlie. How about alts versus BTC? Dead already? So what you need for alts versus BTC is this, in my opinion, and I'll put it in the chat because no doubt everyone will ask me. So I'll check in the chat for you all. You can, when you see it, you'll have a make a copy of it up here in the top right, and you can just take a copy of this and you can add, remove, change whatever's on here. You can take bearer off if you don't want to trade bearer. You can add in, I don't know, dog shit coming new 69 or whatever if you want to add that in and trade that. But this is how you look at alts relative to Bitcoin, in my opinion. Now you can look at the old BTC chart and stuff and do it that way, but like let's kind of zoom out and let's appreciate what I'm talking about in terms of old BTC and why I'm kind of convinced that it's over for a period of time, right? Which is, here's all the alts that are outperforming Bitcoin. It's kind of like 50-50 way back in October. Stays pretty similar throughout December. We've got quite a lot of outperformers. Everything's kind of heading up and to the right. We've got a few underperformers. And then now you come into this, and for the last 2-3 months, Bitcoin has basically done not too much, minus 10%, right? Minus 9%. One alt, OM, which I longed, by the way, and ran up 33% or whatever it was. So that was nice. I mean, I did sell too early, but whatever. Profit's profit. I've actually made decent amounts considering the little I've traded. And every other altcoin is just dead. Like these here haven't really lasted. The odd little pump and dump. What was this? Was this Aptos or something? Fartcoin, yeah, that big fucking paid shill. That's that ran like a piece of shit, and has now gone back to the lows. But yeah, like I just why would I be bullish on alts? Like I want to be bullish on them, but this chart is telling me that really you're probably going to get a rotation out of it, and this was probably it, to be honest. This was probably the rotation, right? Nice to see Bert running. But am I going balls deep into a downtrending market on these alts? Like, am I buying it here, balls to the wall? Nah, I'm not. I will always say that I'm one of the least risky person or people in crypto. And it always kind of fascinates people that I trade and gamble on the stuff, and people think that trading is being a high risk gambler. And yeah, if I was trying to fucking time this and buy the bottom, there's plenty of degens that try and do that. But I'm trying to play a different game. I'm trying to play one where it's much easier and I actually win. And buying stuff that's reclaimed ranges or is about to break out of ranges on relative strength, they are easy mode trades in my opinion. This is not. But I mean, this is nice. Don't get me wrong. Bullish on Doppler knives? Great, great. If anyone's got any other questions, by the way, just chuck them in. Just chuck them in the chat. I've got a few more points to go through, but there's not huge amounts, to be honest, because most things are kind of done or dying, or BNB looks okay, and I've traded this trade about 400 times this year already. People will probably remember the one from like here or wherever it was, and then closing it up here, and then retaking it, and then basically round tripping it over here, and then playing it again and again and again, and it's just painful. But it does look quite good. I'm not going to take it though, which means that you can all probably take a free dub. BONK was the other one that I wanted to talk about, because I actually think that, like, looking at some of these big daily divergences, like we talked about earlier, like, this is where we kind of get set up from a momentum perspective to potentially squeeze the next leg. So it looks really nice in terms of high time frame momentum, right? So what we're trying to do here is say, do we think that we should be taking a short or taking a long? And the answer is, well, structurally, oh, did I lose you? Structurally, we're downtrending. So this divergence is counter trend, okay? But it makes a lot of sense that since we have dropped 80% from the highs, which has only happened a couple of times before, and marked, oh, but it hasn't even happened in terms of 80%. Okay, fine. Yeah, this has been the largest drop in the history of BONK on Binance. That one might be. Nope. This is the largest drop of BONK on Binance that actually we are definitely at an extreme. Does that mean there's a guarantee of reversal? Absolutely not. But does it mean that shorts have had a free ride for a long time? Yes. Does it mean that we should get a dead cat bounce? Yeah, I'd say so, quite probably. So, looking at this as a good example of, this actually looks like the inverse Bitcoin chart that we talked about earlier, right? This looks exactly like that. So if I was being like really aggressive in terms of my positioning, I might take this just to prove a point so I can flex some P&L cards on Twitter. I'd be positioning into something like this as like a really aggressive kind of counter trend move. The risk comes back in, and we'll try it as just a rotation, right? I might even just go a bit more aggressive, something like that. Like, because we know that we've got a daily divergence, we know that there should be some risk on in memes in general, because we're starting to get that now, actually, like meme. Good reaction off this lower 86, both in terms of ETH and Bitcoin. BONK is kind of breaking out, right? If you squint, and if we start looking at that. So, yeah, that's kind of my thought process of trying to flow. Like, Oh no. No. No sound, muted. I was scrolled up. Ugh. F in the chat, boys. We've got a little bit of a blooper reel. How long were we out for? Honk honk. I did think people were going wild with the emoji things. And I was like, wow, peeps are really loving it today. 5 minutes. 2-3 minutes? Okay. So it's fine. I do apologize. I basically said I was basically sucking myself off before my Trump short and saying that I'm shorting the president's coin to zero because they're going to dump 500 million of it in a couple of days. I also said that in terms of top signals and and in terms of top signals, like this was one of them for me. It wasn't the fact that necessarily that they dropped a coin. Actually, when Trump dropped a coin, I was like, oh my god, this is incredibly bullish, blah blah blah. I traded it twice like a pussy, but I like sold like ridiculous. Like I did like 30% and then 40% or something, where it actually just like ran 10x or something stupid from where I saw it. But anyway, regardless of that, when they dropped Melania straight after, I was like, holy shit, this market is done. It is too easy to just drop memes, and like I just went on absolute defense mode. And then obviously there's been loads of other ones since, people just creating coins and then dying within like 8 hours. I also think that like in terms of what we were talking about over here, but you guys might not have heard it. So the alt rotations. Like, the alt rotations have been bad for a while, and I feel it because I try and trade it, but I can also see it, just in terms of, like, this chart, and hopefully you caught that bit, because that's quite, like, an important lesson in my mind of this is how I gauge risk, or risk on, risk off. If there's, like, 1 or 2 coins above here, it's not great. If there's lots of coins above here, it's pretty good. So, like, this session right now, there's a lot of coins, pretty much everything outperforming BTC. This is a good session to try and be catching some longs, until obviously they all get run over and Bitcoin starts its next leg down or whatever. But it's good. When would you go crazy and full risk on? So there's a big difference between kind of going crazy, like in full risk on mode, and being aggressive. So I don't ever really go crazy because I'm not that kind of guy. I will be buying coins that I like, and they're in ranges, waiting for them to break out, or when they first break out of a range, right? I'll just spot buy, stop in here, hope it runs. In terms of when I go really aggressive, it will be when I see something on here that is just wild. So looking at like take Fartcoin now as an example. Let's say I was watching Fartcoin, the only coin in the market starting to do this, right? And starting to break out of a really boring set of spaghetti structures. Like everything else is doing this, right? Bitcoin, other alts, and Fartcoin's just fucking going for it. I'd probably balls deep long that and have a stop basically under wherever it came from, because that's probably going to be the rotation. That's going to get the attention of the market. That's just going to keep going. I can probably get a few percent out of it minimum. If the rest of the market picks up, it'll go. If the rest of the market picks down, then it'll probably come back to my entry and I'll just have to close it and take the fees, right? Simples. But that's how that's more how I do it in terms of massively risk on. And like when the XRP news came out, whenever it was, like a year ago now, I suppose, like I just went fucking ham on the risk, absolutely ham. I overfired on that one, to be honest, but it worked out well. But I mean, it was still poor risk management, right? Say 1 hour. Yeah, I haven't had much joy trading Say or Sui actually. I was a bit too aggressive on this short setup that we talked about last stream in terms of hoping it would run up and we'd get something like this. We didn't get anywhere near that. Though we are starting to get that bounce towards these lows in terms of reclaiming ranges. If you follow like SC, deviation, reclaim, target range highs. That's quite nice, actually, Sui, in terms of the 4 hour. RSI actually gone into the extreme, come back out of it. So, yeah, hopefully that's it. USDT.dominance. Can't say I've used this particularly. Is this just the market cap of USDT? Not Sui. Yeah, I know, say, but I went to Sui because I kind of expected it to be stronger. Yeah, I don't really know how to use this chart, to be honest, mate. It's just the market cap of USDT versus all crypto assets. I mean, yeah, I don't know. What do you think about liquidations levels right now? Does it look like there's going to be a short squeeze? Yeah, I don't know. I don't really look at liquidation levels, mate. I think the next runners are going to be different, and I'll just keep an eye out on what they are, because like I think that the market is obsessed with finding a reason to tokenize something, and we had the whole like DSY and stuff like that. Now there is actually an argument for computational power supporting DSY stuff. That does make sense. So you need a lot of computational power to run simulations of curing cancer in various guises, right? So it makes sense to kind of create an ecosystem to incentivize your computing power to be transferred or swapped for tokens so that you can cure cancer whilst getting some tokens. Yeah, cool stuff. But the reality is that like a lot of the narratives I think have been kind of burnt through. I don't think there's too many left, but there will almost certainly be a new way someone somewhere comes up with to use crypto, and there will be another 100x, another 1000x token to have. Yeah, that's why I think USDT dominance can be quite useful. I mean, the thing that I don't really know how to use this, to be honest. Like I've not looked at this chart before, so I'm not going to try and like use a chart I don't understand. This is what I look at, which is the total market cap of all the major, I should say, stable coins. So in simple terms, money is entering the casino, money is leaving the casino, money is entering the casino. When do we start seeing this kind of teeter off? Because when it does start to teeter off, which it kind of looks like, if we get something like this, this kind of price action up here, oh, it's not price action, but you know what I mean. If we get some consolidation like this, could signal a pretty kind of clean sweep of, well, people in general are removing their chips from said casino. And yeah, that may lead to a couple of years bear market. But I'm not saying that's going to happen. What I'm saying is it's something that I do use and I do look at. Any advice on how to get spaghetti charts for trading and perps exchanges not supported by TradingView? No idea, mate, to be honest. And someone asked about Hype earlier. Hype, I think, is probably going to be a great play at some point. Whether that point is now or not, I don't know. Again, like for me, you'll see it shield all over CT because a lot of people got OTC bags of Hype. I didn't, so fuck them. But why do I want to buy it now? Maybe I'll buy it if it kind of closes above 20. But no, I think it's meh. Hype launched their Hype EVM, so they have their own chain now. You can trade spot Bitcoin there. Yeah, I like that people think that it's such a huge thing that the big thing that people didn't have is somewhere to buy spot Bitcoin. Like there's literally a million places you can do that. But if you've got a Hype bag, I genuinely wish you all the best. It's not a bad place to pick some up, to be fair. I think we better get a bullish or Q4. How do you feel about this now? I actually think that all those kind of predictions are utter fucking bollocks, if I'm honest with you. It's just a way to get people to, bait engagement. Like, oh my god, guys, Q1's going to be so bullish. Remember when everyone was like, Q1's going to be the most bullish month, it's the most bullish month for crypto, blah, blah, blah. Q4 is the most bullish month for crypto, blah, blah, blah. Q3 is the most bullish month for crypto, blah, blah, blah. Like, people just do it. Like, I try and keep things a bit more real on stream, and I'll just tweet fucking nonsense, because I don't really care about my Twitter anymore. But yeah, like, take things with a pinch of salt. If things were that easy, if it's Q4 is going to be bullish, then you have to ask yourself why people who are in a position of being able to say that and state that aren't going and taking on some side bets that essentially mean that they make hundreds of millions of dollars, if that is the case. So, yeah, I can tell you, based off a number of charts, a number of different factors, including the price action, the relative strength, this, and the general market sentiment, and potentially some narrative, some context, the environment that we're trading and all that kind of stuff. If I can give you 5 trades and 3 of them will probably work, right? Or maybe 2 of them will work, but yeah, 2 of them will work, and out of the 5 of them, you would overall be up, yeah? But what I can't tell you is this one's going to take you 10 minutes, this one's going to take you an hour, this one's going to take you 6 days, and this one's going to round trip within 5 seconds of you putting it on. Like, I just can't do that. If there are people that can do that, fucking fair play, but yeah, I don't believe in the whole Q1's bullish, Q4's not, and all this kind of narrative. But I am quite happy with my bear market tweet. When I tweeted, this is the bear market of 2025, or whatever it is, bear market tier list. I put 2025 on it. Capo was right arc. I've just seen someone put under my tweet. It's quite funny. I don't think Capo was right. I just think, it's very difficult right now. It's very difficult for me to be bullish. Right? Whatever. I'm in shorts, printing money, so it's kind of, I don't have necessarily a vested interest to change my bias unless the market tells me to. Feel about fluid? No. Number 2 slot. Nice. Yeah, I'd rather go with the chart tells me, but as you say, it's been such a narrative that I was curious your opinion. Yeah, that's fair, mate. No, you can always ask my opinions. I just I find I struggle with some of the what's it? The kind of gurus who can do that. But if you actually go back over the course of their tweets, they would have said Q1's bullish, Q2's bullish, Q3's bullish, Q4's bullish, and then they would also have said Q1's bearish, Q2's bearish, Q3's bearish, and Q4's bearish, and then just retweet the ones that actually work. But don't take my word for it. Check the fluid chart. What is it? This doesn't look particularly liquid, but also doesn't look as fucking horrific as a lot of stuff. I mean, hard to kind of get excited about this, to be honest. Again, like it's just sort of sat in the middle of this consolidation here. Let's see if there's anything. It's just too illiquid for me. Like, these wicks are just massive, man. Absolutely massive. It's a good sign in terms of this move up, but do I want to be like balls deep long here? Not really. It just looks illiquid as fuck. Sorry, man. Literally sold the FWOG bomb because you're busy moving homes. Yeah, but FWOG is literally shit the bed. I mean, and that's also called capitulation. Like, if you look at this chart, right, This is where I bought it up here somewhere, and I sold it here somewhere thinking I was a fucking idiot. And then now it's down like 95% from there. This whole thing, these reclaims, like, are nice, and that's what I mean. Is like, look for the fastest horse. And what do I think about it now? Like, I'm not going to touch this. Like, the good trade was down here. You know, you had a downtrend, you had a consolidation, you've had a blast up, and there was actually relative strength on FWOG earlier. But you know, I'm not logging it here, if that's what you're asking. Do you see Solana going to 5070? Yeah, why not? If Bitcoin goes down to 70 keks, then I don't see why Sol wouldn't go there. But you know, the reality is that, do I think that Sol is a short here? Like, absolutely not. Like, do I think that there's plenty of kind of levels for it to be supported by, like right now? Yes, I do. You know, would it surprise me if it closed like this and started moving up to at least like the highs across here? No, that would be a pretty reasonable bounce, right? Pretty reasonable buyback and a buy up, sorry. I'd like to see some relief on Solana. Yeah, we've got that same structure as we got on BONK, the little consolidation, breakout. Off we go. We may be done dumping for a couple of days. Yeah, exactly. We might just like run up, get something like 161 on Solana, and just have a little bit of relief, right? Something like that. Boop. But equally, it can all just die if Bitcoin can't actually find a bottom. But like I said earlier, like this, oh, did we delete it? Did we? Well, we did the same thing on Bitcoin. We just drew a magical line across here and said if it starts breaking out, then that's when we go for it. But that was BONK doing not great. No real momentum, but okay. And it's not one of the strongest odds. Like something like Farcoin, MOG. Do you know what I mean? Like, you want to be looking at this and seeing what's actually doing well. What's my insight on POPCAT? I mean, it's probably going to be the same as most other memes, mate. Absolutely fucked. And just had a nice bounce. Yeah, rip. Remember when it was going to $10? Lol. Not bad in terms of a nice little reclaim. I'm not particularly interested in trying to trade it here. The other one that I wanted to talk about actually was OM. I tried to trade this earlier, and this was one that I got stopped on, but I actually got stopped like here, basically when Bitcoin got cut. OM has been one of the weirdest coins to trade in a while. So we talked about this on stream way back here, and we talked about this move, and I caught this move here, wherever it was. I think it was here, maybe it was this, up to like here in the group, and I was looking for this morning. Basically, when Bitcoin started running, OM was the strongest coin, and wasn't there. Obviously moved it. I actually longed it like here. So I longed it on this reclaim here, and then I was quickly underwater, and I quickly cut down here because Bitcoin was dying. But the point is that this, when it runs and when it has strength, has been an absolute belter to play. So I really want to see it run again, and you know, we're at quite an interesting level on it now. So if we can get some relative strength again, if we can start bouncing off here, and we can get some relative strength low time frame, which, as you can see, there is nothing at the moment, then that's an easy long for me. Good evening, I love my wife and beautiful kids. Thanks for acknowledging. That's all right, mate. I try and answer all the questions on the stream. If you've enjoyed the stream, just drop me a like and subscribe and all that kind of stuff. It does wonders for the algo and for me. You know, it makes me smile inside. Hopefully we've gone through quite a lot of useful stuff. We've gone through a few ideas just in terms of like rotational plays. I don't think Bonk's going to do much, to be honest, but yeah, I've pumped some money into this. Not much, but you know, enough to go to McDonald's if it works out, and maybe treat myself to a Twix. Sol, we kind of chatted over Sol a lot, mate. I mean, this is, you know, high time frame. You want to be looking for reversion, I think. These are the levels to play around that we marked up just a minute ago. And if I delete all my stupid squiggles, I don't want to delete just my other stuff, but you can kind of see how this could be a local low in terms of we've sold off very aggressively into this like almost range low. If we front run that kind of makes sense in terms of maintaining a bullish bias, but realistically, you know, I'm not being super aggressive with these. You know, well, I am in terms of like if I was positioning into them now, but you know, I don't hold high hopes for them. Is my point. BTC. Oh, it's nice, but ETH itself looks like trash. So I think we need to kind of get over ETH BTC in general. And yeah, again, like deleting all of this stuff. You know, what am I looking for? What levels am I interested in? It's kind of here, and then range lows here. Like I don't want to turn up early to the wrong party. Is my simple philosophy. You know, I'm not trying to catch the bottom on this like so many other people. But yeah, thank you all for being here, guys. It's been a pleasure. Hopefully I've not been too dull and bearish, because I'm not bearish on crypto, right? I'm a massive believer in crypto. I think crypto brings so much to so many people. And I do think Bitcoin goes to $1 million at some point. That's why I'm never selling some, or I will sell at that kind of level. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I think it's the immutable digital Ponzi that's massive reflection of human psychology and mostly greed. So I genuinely don't see anything stopping that. I just think that from an altcoin perspective, short term, we're probably in for a little bit more pain because of the mass extraction. And then once we've got over that and flocked back to quality and utility, we'll probably see a run of, I think, high cash flow generating utility kind of projects, because people will want something so different to the high risk memes. And then as risk evolves and we get back to the high risk on, we'll go back to the memes. The memes will fly like last time, and the cycle will continue. You know, yeah, FWOG up 28%, but I mean, look at the chart. It's not exactly screaming super bull market, is it? This little thing down here. Yeah, cheers everyone for being here. Like I said, appreciate all the likes, subscribes, and all the emojis and all that kind of stuff, even though I was a boomer and muted my mic. And I will love you and leave you all. And for those of you in the Paragon, I will see you in the Paragon. Au revoir.